There are moments in life when the people we know best quietly reveal a part of themselves that changes everything. And for Mark Consuelos, that moment arrived subtly, without warning. What began as an ordinary day on Live with Kelly and Mark, a few jokes, banter about their children, the usual morning warmth, shifted in an instant. Mark's posture changed. The effortless grin that usually carried him through every segment disappeared, and a deep breath signaled that something long suppressed was about to surface. "I've spent most of my life trying to prove that I am enough," he admitted, and for a moment the studio fell into silence. Kelly's eyes widened, her reaction measured and soft, a question in her gaze. The confession was unplanned, a sudden emergence of vulnerability that had remained private for decades, and it immediately revealed a new dimension of the man fans thought they knew so well. The weight behind the smile. For years, Mark had lived in the spotlight with confidence and charisma, yet beneath the surface he carried self-doubt. The applause, the cameras, the praise, and the adoration could not fill a deeper void he felt in his own life. Success had never been enough to quiet the inner voice, questioning whether he measured up, not just as an actor or a public figure, but as a husband, a father, and a man beside someone as accomplished as Kelly Ripa. That quiet voice had persisted, never spoken aloud, growing alongside his career. It was a tension between public triumph and private insecurity, a dissonance that neither accolades nor adoration could resolve. And that tension became impossible to contain in a moment of honesty during a live broadcast. Roots of resilience. Mark's upbringing instilled both strength and humility, shaped by a hard-working family of Mexican and Italian heritage. Values of perseverance, faith, and dedication were woven into his earliest experiences. Yet no lesson could fully prepare him for the weight of public expectation. Fame was earned, not given, and every achievement carried the implicit question of whether it was enough. Meeting Kelly Ripa on the set of All My Children brought immediate chemistry and connection, a love story that seemed lifted from fiction, yet rooted in shared authenticity. Despite their early marriage and professional successes, Mark often found himself wrestling with private doubts, questioning whether he could ever match the extraordinary energy and visibility Kelly brought to their partnership. The pressure of partnership. As Kelly's star rose, through hosting, writing, and becoming one of America's most beloved television personalities, Mark's private doubts quietly intensified. He was not envious, but he was acutely aware of the contrast between public perception and his own sense of self. The world often framed him as Kelly Ripa's husband, a supporting character in a story that bore his name only secondarily. While he loved his wife deeply and cherished their partnership, the pressure of living under a microscope, where every gesture and expression was scrutinized, magnified feelings of inadequacy. In a career and a life built on performance, he now faced a stage where authenticity and vulnerability were both necessary and terrifying. The confession on live TV. The moment came with simplicity, yet it carried profound weight. Mark's words, spoken to a national audience, were not rehearsed or calculated. They were the release of years of inner dialogue and self-questioning. You reach a stage where success no longer fills the void anymore. You smile for the cameras, but inside, you're still searching, he said, and the audience sensed the truth of his words. For the first time, the actor known for charm and composure allowed himself to be fully human on air, to reveal an internal struggle that had quietly accompanied him through every stage of his life. Kelly's response was quiet and intentional, her gaze absorbing every nuance, her presence a steady acknowledgement of the courage it took to speak aloud what had long been silent. Kelly's quiet strength. Kelly's reaction, soft yet profound, communicated support in a way that words alone could not. She did not interrupt, did not deflect, did not insert humor to lighten the moment. Instead, she moved closer, her voice gentle. "You have always been enough. You just never needed the world to tell you. That simple affirmation carried decades of shared experiences, of partnership, and of understanding. And it was a reminder that validation need not come from the outside world. It begins within the circle of love and trust. The audience erupted in applause, but the real moment existed quietly between them. A private reconciliation made visible to millions. The turning point. In a later discussion, Mark explained why he had chosen that specific moment to share what had been hidden. "I hadn't intended to say it," he admitted. "It just came out. But it felt necessary to say aloud, not just for me, but for someone else watching who feels the same." His words reflected a universal truth. The act of acknowledging vulnerability can create connection and relief, not just for the speaker, but for those silently struggling alongside them. Kelly, in an interview with People magazine, noted that while she was aware of his feelings, she had never seen him choose such a public moment to voice them. Her recognition of the courage involved emphasized the depth of their shared understanding and trust. Balancing identity and partnership. The dynamic of joining Kelly on Live had heightened the tension for Mark, highlighting the delicate balance between professional achievement and personal identity. Though he had his own successful acting career, including his role as Hiram Lodge on Riverdale and experience as a producer, stepping into the morning show spotlight meant occupying a space dominated by his wife's legacy. For the first time, the whispers he had fought internally of being a supporting figure were amplified on a national stage. Yet his confession transformed this pressure into a moment of liberation, allowing him to assert that his worth was intrinsic and not dependent on comparison. Courage in vulnerability. Mark's openness created a ripple effect beyond the studio. Media outlets, accustomed to reporting on celebrity highlights and scripted moments, suddenly found themselves addressing the courage inherent in male vulnerability. Fans and viewers responded with empathy and gratitude, particularly men who recognized themselves in his struggle. Social media filled with messages of identification, sharing stories of self-doubt, of living in the shadow of a partner's brilliance, and of learning to navigate the delicate balance between supporting someone else and honoring one's own voice. In that sense, Mark's moment transcended celebrity. It became a mirror for anyone negotiating the complexities of identity, partnership, and self-worth. Marriage as mutual support. This story was less about fame and more about the enduring nature of love, when vulnerability is welcomed rather than feared. Mark and Kelly's relationship illustrates how long-term partnerships thrive not by maintaining flawless appearances, but by navigating imperfection together. Speaking truths, even uncomfortable ones, creates a foundation of trust and mutual understanding. Their on-air moment of honesty became a symbolic reminder that love flourishes not in the absence of struggle, but in the willingness to confront it openly, to hold space for each other's growth, and to celebrate the humanity behind public personas. Public vulnerability as inspiration. The impact of Mark's confession extended beyond the studio. Viewers recognized themselves in his words, sparking discussions about modern masculinity, partnership, and the pressure to appear invulnerable. By sharing his truth on live television, Mark validated the quiet struggles of countless individuals navigating the tension between external expectations and internal self-worth. It was a gentle, yet powerful reminder that expressing doubt does not equate to weakness, and that acknowledgement can transform fear into connection, both within intimate relationships and across a broader community. Humor and heart in the wake of honesty. Following the moment of confession, life on the show continued with its trademark humor and banter, but it carried an added depth. Jokes and lighthearted segments were no longer superficial. They existed alongside an underlying authenticity that invited both laughter and reflection. The audience sensed the difference, witnessing not just a morning show, but a partnership strengthened by honesty, trust, and empathy. The interplay between Kelly and Mark became a model for communication, illustrating how vulnerability need not disrupt joy, but can enhance it. Living authentically together. The ultimate transformation was not public applause, but the quiet reinforcement of respect and equality in their marriage. By embracing vulnerability, Mark reclaimed his own narrative, and Kelly demonstrated the profound impact of listening and supporting without judgment. Their shared experience highlighted that love is a process of mutual recognition, of acknowledging insecurities without letting them define the partnership, and of finding balance between individuality and togetherness. Through this openness, they modeled the strength of authenticity in both private and public spheres. A lesson in courage and connection. In the end, the story is about the courage to confront self-doubt and the transformative power of speaking truth to those we love. Mark's decision to voice what had been silent for years allowed not only personal liberation, but also a deepening of connection with Kelly, their children, and their audience. It reminds us that even those who appear confident and unshakable may carry private struggles, and that empathy, patience, and honest communication